The electric buzz of clippers filled the sterile nurse's office, sounding far more sinister than it should have. 12-year-old Layla Monroe sat trembling as her carefully braided extensions fell strand by strand to the cold tile floor. Each one revealed more of the alopecia she'd tried so hard to keep hidden. Standing over her, arms crossed with disturbing satisfaction, was her 7th-grade teacher, Mrs. Edna Kellum. It had started with a journal. Layla was sketching in it during algebra class a bird in flight, delicate lines drawn with the care only an artist could give. But to Mrs. Kellum, Layla's journal was defiance. She snatched it up, accused her of slacking off, and then began targeting the girl's hair, calling it distracting, showy, and in violation of the school's rigid dress code. Layla tried to explain. Her mother, deployed overseas with the U.S. Army, had filed a medical exemption for the extensions. Layla had alopecia. But the explanation fell on deaf ears. Instead of compassion, she was marched to the nurse's office. The nurse, hesitant, deferred to the teacher's insistence that there was parental permission on file. That was a lie. Still, the clippers came out. Still, the shaving began. Layla begged them to stop, but Mrs. Kellum forced the process through until not a single strand remained. Her friend, Zoe Patel, recorded part of the march to the nurse's office. It captured Layla's tear-streaked face, the teacher's firm grip on her arm, and enough context to spark outrage. Zoe sent it to Layla's uncle, Evan Monroe, who'd been caring for Layla while her mother was deployed. Evan tried reaching Major Camille Monroe for hours, eventually leaving a short, shaken message. "Camille, it's Layla. Something happened at school. It's bad. Call me." Camille Monroe received the message 7,000 miles away on a classified base. She watched the grainy video in stunned silence. Then, without pause, she requested emergency family leave. Within 24 hours, she was airborne, her fury contained beneath the rigid structure of her military discipline. Back at home, Layla refused to eat. Her bright eyes were dimmed. Her shoulders slumped beneath the hoodie Zoe had placed over her head. She hadn't spoken since leaving school. Meanwhile, Principal Harold Dempsey met behind closed doors with the school district's attorney and Mrs. Kellum. They called it a dress code misunderstanding. Dempsey wanted it buried. The district attorney suggested citing student privacy laws. Kellum, as always, played the victim. "She was defiant," she said. "I was just following protocol." But Layla wasn't alone. Zoe's sister, Jasmine Patel, was a college sophomore with a minor in civil rights law. She uploaded the clip with a caption. She hid her condition. They exposed it. They humiliated her. Watch. The video exploded online. Tens of thousands of shares. Hashtags like Justice for Layla and Not Just Hair began trending. Local news picked it up first, then national. Mr. Thomas Wren, Layla's art teacher, confronted Principal Dempsey the following morning. "You let Kellum get away with this?" he asked. "Jason," Dempsey said cautiously, "the matter is being investigated." "1-day suspension? You call that accountability?" "You need to be careful," Dempsey warned. "Your contract's up next semester." That afternoon, Evan found an anonymous envelope under their door. Inside, a copy of Layla's complaint form, dated 2 weeks prior to the incident. It detailed how Kellum had been making derogatory remarks about Layla's hair and behavior. At the bottom, in red ink, "No action required." Major Camille Monroe returned home and immediately walked into Lakeside Middle School. Full uniform, boots clacking down the halls. The moment she entered the lounge, silence fell. Teachers parted like the Red Sea. "Mrs. Kellum," she said. Her voice was low but resonant. Kellum paled. "Major Monroe, I didn't realize you were back. I understand you met my daughter recently." "Rather intimately." The teacher stammered. "Fort Leonard Wood, 2009, Camille said. "Ring a bell, Private Kellum?" "Dishonorably discharged after 3 failed attempts to pass quals and filing false reports against your fellow trainees." Kellum's face turned to ash. "This isn't over, Edna." "Not by a long shot." The next day, Camille handed over a thick file to Dempsey, filled with medical records, exemption documents, and screenshots of texts between Kellum and another teacher where she referred to Layla as a brat who needed to be taught a lesson. "You think this is about a haircut?" Camille said. "You declared war on my family. And I don't lose wars." By then, Mr. Wren had been placed on administrative leave for creating unrest. Camille responded with a national news interview that went viral. Her final quote became a rallying cry: "If the system won't protect my daughter, I will dismantle it and build a better one." The district scrambled. Superintendent Paul Langley announced a task force, new dress code reforms, and an internal review. But behind the scenes, things were unraveling fast. An IT tech named Andre Hall contacted Camille. He'd been ordered to delete the security footage from the nurse's office but secretly saved a copy. The footage showed everything: Layla begging, Kellum ignoring her, the clippers buzzing. There was no audio, but the visual was damning. Then came the anonymous threats: back off or regret the bench. Camille wasn't deterred. With help from civil rights attorney Grace Yamada, they filed a multi-million-dollar civil lawsuit against the district, Kellum, and Dempsey personally. At trial, the jury saw the footage. They heard Layla's soft voice as she testified behind a privacy screen. They saw emails, heard from the nurse, and even from Camille's old commanding officer who testified to Kellum's history of racial resentment. Kellum snapped under cross-examination. She ranted about entitled students and how Camille had ruined her life years ago. The jury returned a unanimous verdict: guilty on all counts. Damages totaled $10 million. Outside the courthouse, Camille spoke again. This case was never about money. It was about dignity, about every child who deserves safety and respect. The verdict sparked more than headlines. The state passed the Layla Act, protecting medical privacy and enforcing stricter protocols for school-based discipline. Mr. Wren was reinstated and promoted to principal. Layla began to heal. Her art shifted from shadowy swirls to bold colors. Her new paintings told stories not of pain, but of power. A local gallery featured her work in an exhibit titled "Stripped." One piece became iconic: a bald girl standing in a burned-down classroom surrounded by rising flowers. The title, "What Remains?" Layla told a reporter, "They tried to erase me, but I redrew myself." In time, she started an art therapy nonprofit for kids with trauma. Zoe launched a podcast called Unbraided, spotlighting stories like hers. Camille turned down political offers, instead founding a coalition to support families facing school-based discrimination. Justice for the Monroes didn't end in the courtroom. It lived on in every child who walked into Layla's studio, picked up a brush, and began telling their truth. Sometimes justice begins not with a gavel but with a girl refusing to stay silent.